Hey everyone, this is Dave from BCBushcraft here again, and today I just wanted to show you guys a few cool finds that I managed to acquire when I was at a garage sale. And I went to this garage sale specifically to pick up an old TV, but I went looking around and I went looking around in the guy's tool shed and I found all of these things, and including some drill bits and things like that for a hand crank, which is, I already had this, but this is one of those old school hand cranks you can drill things without power. I got all of these items, including these drill bits, for $7. And I think that's a pretty good investment if you're willing to do some restoration on some of these knives, because some of them need need a little bit more than just a basic sharpening. Just wanted to share with you some of the finds that I came across while I was at this garage sale, and to show you that you don't need to purchase things online necessarily if you're willing to go the extra mile and do some restoration projects. So I'll start off with the little guys first, and I found a couple small folders that still lock into place really nicely. I cleaned this side a little bit. I haven't really cleaned this side too much, and you can see it's got some rust on it. Probably most of these knives have been sharpened by file, so the blades are pretty beat up, pretty dull, and they just need a little bit of love. But this guy's made in the USA. You can see right there, stamped USA. Probably going to say it's an Imperial knife, because I think these two, well, this one definitely is Imperial, and I think this one looks like a design of an old Imperial knife too. So these are kind of vintage knives that I did come across. I also found this other little folder. This very similar style, but without the scales. Two blades, opens up really nicely. This one doesn't have too much rust on it, but the blade needs a sharpen. This one is probably the coolest knife. This actually has Imperial stamped onto it. It's got 24HL, which I'm not sure what that entirely means, but it's a stacked leather handle for sure. And it's a reasonably thick blade. I think it goes into a saber grind, but it's been filed, so this edge needs some work. But it's actually not too rusty or anything. It's kind of got a nice patina on it. There's a few little rust marks and patches that some steel wool might be able to pull out. But this knife is actually in really good shape. It's very sturdy, very strong, and this would make an actual good hunting bushcraft knife, But this one I can get away with just, reprofiling the edge, and it will be a perfect functional knife in no time. The sheath is pretty ratty. Old leather sheath has been bent, been thrown in. I found this stuffed in a drawer or something like that in the guy's garage. And I was like, wow, this is sweet. I think this is called a crook knife. I forget. The term escapes me at this moment, but it's for carving out bowls and spoons. And I saw this just chucked into a tool chest that the guy had, and I was like, I actually need one of these. And this saves me spending $30 for a Moore knife one, and it just needs a sharpen too. But it's also been filed down, but I'm pretty sure this is wrapped in hockey tape. It's quite old hockey tape, so it's kind of melded together to form this handle, but you can see that it's metal there, and I'm probably going to unwrap it and see what's underneath and see what I can do with it. Maybe I can make a nicer handle for this thing. I definitely just need to, sharpen it up. I might have to purchase a ceramic rod and create a leather strop with a rounded edge on it so I can strop this thing. But nonetheless, that's a really cool find. You don't come across these too often, so that was a pretty good find. Moving on to the next knife here, which I think is also an Imperial knife. Didn't have a sheath on it. It was just thrown in to the box, and I kind of grabbed it because it was a knife. I think it's an Imperial, and you can kind of see that this has been filed down over the years. The knife blade probably should be starting out here. Over the years, it's been filed away at to create that kind of funky little look. But this one definitely needs a big restoration. I'll soak it in some vinegar, scrub it down with steel wool, continue to do that to get all the rust out of it. It's also wrapped with, I think, old hockey tape or old electrical tape, but you can see that there's a handle underneath and that the tang is actually exposed on the bottom. So I'm not really sure how this knife will look when I unwrap it all, but maybe I can, you know, do something with the handle, make a nicer handle for it, clean this all up, make the blade look a little nicer, probably file this down, and just, you know, do a restoration project on this guy. And there's no reason why this can't be a functional knife, you know, with just a few hours of work. And this is just an old leather case that was for glasses, but I figured that I could actually take this apart and either, you know, make a little makeshift sheath for one of the knives, or even create it into a strop by gluing, because it does seem like nice leather to strop on. So maybe I'll separate it, glue one half down to a piece of wood and create a field strop, and then the other half I might turn into a small leather sheath. So that's another little item that I picked up there. Moving on, these are, I believe these are roofing hammers, old roofing hammers. The guy was telling me when I picked it up that this one in particular, you would put the nails that you were going to use in there and one that you were going to use here, and you'd set it, hammer it in, pull out your nail, set it, hammer it in. And this part here was used to split shingles. So I figure that, you know, I could make this into a tomahawk or something like that and make it a functional bushcraft tool. Only thing is it's quite rusted out, so it's going to need a good scrub, good soak in some vinegar. It's going to need a new handle for sure. Handle is totally cracked and worn out. And the same goes with this guy. I thought this guy was a really cool one. He's quite small. Quite a small little thing, but, you know, I feel like this could be a nice little carving style. Small hatchet. And, you know, you got the hammer end, obviously, which is always useful. But, you know, this could be like something, if I was going really, really light, or I didn't have much space, I could just throw this in and have a little hatchet type thing. But likewise, you know, there's going to be a lot of time put into taking care of the rust on the head, sharpening it up. And I'll put a new handle on this one, even though the handle on this one's better than the other one. I can feel it wiggling around when I give it a whack. So those are some of the finds that I managed to come across when I was at this garage sale, and to get all of these items for around $7 is pretty awesome. You know, it's, the guy roughly judged it $1 a piece or so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 with these bits, and kind of just shot me a number of 7. I was like, yeah, that sounds good. But I'm incredibly happy with the finds that I have. I mean, I have an old vintage knife, like, you know, this might be from the 70s or something like that. Only a vintage knife, and it's still got a nice stacked leather handle on it, and it's quite comfortable. Nothing wrong with it, just needs to get sharpened. These are some of the projects that I'm going to be doing in the future too, is making these into some functional bushcraft tools, and showing you that you don't have to, you know, stick to Amazon, that you can actually go out and find tools. You know, our grandparents' generation, at least my grandparents' generation, like these are the things that were common in their garages and in their households. So if you go to a garage sale, you know, or an estate sale, you're bound to find old tools like this that you can restore them, replace handles, you know, get rid of the rust, and like they're going to become like really useful tools that you don't really buy these things anymore, you know. So on top of preserving history, it's a fun item and it's fun to do. So I suggest trying these things if you've never tried it, and it's not too hard to do these things. I mean, the tools that you need to work with, like files and things like that, you can actually pick them up at those garage sales too. So You just need a few basic hand tools and you can totally restore all of these things. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video on some of the finds that I came across at a garage sale and some future projects that I'll be doing. Please like, please subscribe as always. This is Dave from BC Bushcraft. I hope you have a good one.